Now that the client has signed the contract, it's time to prepare our dashboard side of things. And in this tutorial, we'll learn how to add the client email to Firebase and learn how to set up the entire Firebase authentication over on Wized. With that being said, here's a quick demo on what we'll be learning today. So we're on the sign-in page, of course, and we will assign the sign-in functionality on Wized. So when we click on this, it should take us to the dashboard. There we go. So yeah, we're just going to be following that setup, and then we're going to also address the forgot password, which takes us to a request password reset. So if I were to put in my email, there you go. Reset link is on the way. Please check your email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my email. There you go. Follow this link to reset your password, and I'm going to click here, and it brings me to this page here. So I'm going to change my password now. Okay, wait, let me just, all right, reset password, wait for it. Perfect, so it redirects me back to the sign-in page. So yeah, that's the functionality that we're going to be covering. We're going to cover how to sign in, and then how to request for a password reset, and then resetting the password. That's it. That's what we're going to be covering for this tutorial. Now, let me quickly jump over onto Webflow and head over to the login page. So on the login page, you will notice that we have our email input. Okay, so nothing to point out here. And then we have our password input. Just wanted to point out that we have this div block that looks like an input field, but the actual input is this right here. So if you look at the navigator panel, you'll notice that we have a form field input, which is basically just a basic div, and then inside that we have the form field password. And then we have our eye icon here. We're using a custom code for this, so to toggle between each, so the eye open and the eye close. So we are achieving this with custom code. So that's that for this. And then we have the sign in button, which is a regular form button, and then followed by a password link here. And then over here we have the error message, but we don't have the success message because we don't need a success message for login. And that's that. So with that being said, let's have a look at the page settings. All right, so yeah, we just have this code here, which is basically for the for the toggling for the eye icon. And I'm going to close that and head over to the request password reset. Again, it's just pretty straightforward stuff here. We have the success banner, we have the error message as well. Oh, another thing that I forgot to address is that you'll notice that these elements have the Wized cloak custom. Of course, I'm not going to be covering these because you can find more detailed official tutorial on the Wized website. I'm going to link those videos on the description, so in case if you're not familiar with the cloak feature, you should check those out. Okay, so yeah, so that's that for here. Let me check if there are any custom code that we need to keep in mind. No, nothing here. And then we have the reset password. Again, pretty much the same stuff as your login and request reset. So yeah, that's that for our Webflow side of things. I'm just going to quickly publish this page. Awesome. Now that the page has been published, I need to set up a few things on Firebase. So just for the purpose of this tutorial, I have created a new account. I've created a new Firebase account, and over here we're going to be handling our authentication. So first things first is that we're going to head into authentication here and go over to templates. In templates, what we're going to do is we're going to click on edit template, and we're not going to focus on any of these right now, but instead we're going to assign a action URL. So, okay, so our URL is going to be this right here. So in case you don't know what this is basically you assign your action URL in the event that someone requests for a password reset or an email address change, or yeah, any of those. You need to provide a action link. Now in this dashboard, we're providing a very specific link, which is a reset password, because we don't actually have, we have other ways of handling the email change and password change, but for the reset password, we have a different flow, which we are going to go through anyway right now. So yeah, that's why we have a very specific link. If you want to create a more generalized link, it has a different flow, and that's something that I'm going to cover on a future tutorial. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, now with that being said, I'm gonna head over to project overview. Okay. All right, and now I'm going to head into Wized. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. And I'm going to add Firebase into my apps. But instead of using Wized Firebase template, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the custom REST API. Now, the reason why I'm using REST API here is because at the time of making this video, there are a lot of issues going on with using Wized Firebase template. It just, I get a lot of 500 errors. But when you're using custom REST, you know, I don't have, I barely get any issues. So yeah, for this, you're definitely going to have to refer to Google's Firebase documentation. And yeah, so we're going to be covering the entire setup, and I'm also going to be posting this, of course, posting this link onto the description below as well. So yeah, not to worry. Okay, so with that being said, let me just quickly go back to Wized here. All right, so we need to put in the base URL. All right, so the base URL for Firebase is going to be this right here. Let's save that here. Okay, perfect. With that being said, our Firebase is done. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna smash out all the data out requests in one go. So we're gonna create our data out. Well, before we do, let's create the folder first. Authentication. Okay. Now we're going to create our first data out, and that's going to be sign in. So we're going to go for authentication, app is Firebase, and we're just going to close this because we need to go navigate to the right page. Perfect. Okay. Oh, and another crucial thing. Now, before I set up the sign in, remember that your client has signed off on the contract. So we now need to add the client into our Firebase authentication. We don't have any create an account because this is a client portal. So you need to, this process needs to be manually done. And, you know, also we're doing this manually because we want this process to be frictionless as possible. We just want them to swiftly be integrated into our dashboard. And with that being said, what we're going to do on Firebase, head over to authentication. We're going to add the user. We're going to add a dummy password as well, and then add that user. So it's Wized123. So we need to remember that password. Okay. So with that out of the way, now we can set up our data out request. Okay, so we need to put in the URL endpoint. So let me go over here, and we need to put this part of it in, sign in with password. So let's push that in. And then method is post. Okay, now we need to set the URL parameters. So that's going to be key. And okay, so now we need to put our API key here. So we're gonna have to go to Firebase, project settings, and I believe that's our key right there. So let's copy that. Drop that in here. Okay. Now let's check what else do we have. Okay, so we need to provide the email, we need to provide the password, and return secure token. Whether or not to return an ID should always be true. Okay, so we're just gonna pass through email and password on the body. So let's do that. Okay, let me copy this because these are case sensitive. Don't want to be messing up. Okay, so that's going to be on the body. So the email is coming from the email input, which is this one right here, login email. And then we have our password. There we go, login password. Okay, so the body is done. Okay, perfect. Now we need to put in the header. So we're just gonna put content type in the header here. And there we go. Okay, so now we're gonna give it a quick test to see if this is going to work. All right, so Wized 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, perfect. It's gone through. It has been a success. Okay, perfect. Now that sign-in is done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate this and we're going to create another request. We're gonna call this request password reset email. Yeah, there we go. Request password reset email. Now for this one, we need to head into the documentation and look for it. There we go. Send password reset email. Now for this one, the URL parameter is this accounts code. Everything else pretty much stays the same. So let's just copy that. Accounts send code. So the URL endpoint here needs to be changed. Post, this remains same. The URL param remains the same. Header is the same. All right, now for a body. What do we need for our body? Okay, so we just need to put in our email, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're gonna hit reset on this one. Oh, right, we need to navigate to our request password reset page. And let's look it up on X-Ray, request pass email. Okay. Oh, wait, it's not. I don't know why I was looking up the attribute. Okay. Request pass email. There we go. Ah, shoot. There we go. Request pass email. Okay. Now let's test this out. And okay, so that didn't work. Missing required type domain. Okay, so let's go back here. Request type, the kind of code to return should be password reset. Oh, right. Ah, shoot, that's my bad. We also need to put this in on our request as well. So request type, and go to Wiz, add that request type. Needs to be password reset. It should be a password reset. Oh, it's a string. Okay, so it's going to be a string. There we go. So it should work now. Hey, amazing. All right, now if I check our inbox, there we go. We've received our request, our password email. So that's out of the way now. Perfect. Okay, let's duplicate this now and call this reset password. That's going to be our last data out. So verify, confirm password reset. So I believe it's this one right here, confirm password reset. And all right, so the endpoint URL is for this one right here, accounts reset password. So let's change that. Reset password, everything stays the same. Now let's see what we need to change on body. Okay, so on body we have OOB code and new password. Okay, so new password is coming from our input. The OOB code is coming from the URL parameter. Okay, which means that we're going to have to create a parameter. So before we do anything here, let's quickly create a parameter. And call this OOB code. So this needs to be exactly the same as how you have it on Firebase. So something to point out. All right, so OOB code is done. Okay, so let's copy our request body. I keep mixing this up all the time. Very frustrating. Okay, so get rid of this. Place our parameter here. Head over to Firebase, then put in new password. And then, oh, right, I need to navigate to that page, reset password. Okay, there we go. So I believe it's going to be wow, how am I gonna find this? Oh, there we go. Reset password input. Perfect. Okay, now that's done. Let's change to our password and see if this works. Wized1234. And okay, missing OOB code. Oh, right, of course, it's missing OOB code. So what we're gonna do, okay. So I'm gonna have to copy this. All right, yeah, just copy this code, head over to Wized, go to Canvas, add a parameter here, call it OOB code, and drop in the data, and take all this away. So that leaves us with just the value of the OOB code that we received from Firebase. Set that, refresh the page, and now let's change our password. Wized1234. So let me just show you that. So we have this as our password, Wized1234. All right, moment of truth now. Perfect. There we go. Status code 200 and the password has been reset. Perfect. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to point out is that on the email, obviously I didn't explain this clearly. See this entire link here? Of course, what I did was I copied the value of the OOB code. That's part of the URL parameter. Just the OOB code. You'll notice that we also have the value of API key and then mode. So yeah, just wanted to copy the OOB code value and then drop it into the Wized browser console here. So that's essentially what we did to produce the results that we're looking for, which in this case completely worked. All right, now we're finally ready to create our actions. But before I do that, so our data out requests are all done except for sign in. There are two crucial details that I've completely missed out. So what I'm going to do is, before I do that, I'm going to head over to page data and create two cookies. So I'm going to call this cookie as ID token. I'm going to give it a lifetime of 1 week. And then I'm going to create another one called login email. Going to give this a lifetime value of 1 week as well. Now, the reason why we're creating these two cookies are when someone logs in through the Firebase, we want to store the ID token. So if you carefully look at the documentation, so when you sign in with email and password, you'll notice that the response payload returns an ID token. So we want to keep this ID token. So whenever the user is going to the dashboard, that's how we're going to know that if the user has an ID token, that means the user is authorized to enter into the dashboard. So, okay, so it's called ID token. Let me just double check if that's what okay, yeah, ID token. And that's the purpose for the ID token cookie. Now, on the other hand, the reason why we're creating a login email is the email that you've used, we're going to store that in the cookie. Then what we're going to do is that we're going to take that email and then look up that email on Airtable. So we're going to try to match if we can find this email. So which there is a match over here, and then based on that match, we're going to extract all the information regarding your project and then present that in the dashboard. Of course, this is something that we're going to be addressing later on. So that is the idea. Okay, so now that we've created those cookies, I'm going to head into the data out, sign in. So what we're going to do is set cookie. We're going to set ID token, and okay, so we're going to have to do the login all over again. Oh shoot, I forgot the changed password. Okay, so notice that on the response, we've received the ID token. So we need to store that in our cookie. Awesome. So we'll just store that in and done. Okay, now we're going to set another cookie and set cookie, login email. And there we go. We're going to select this email here, and that is it. So let's reload the page again. And I'm going to go to the page data. Okay, so keep an eye on the cookies. So I'm going to put this in, and then so let's run this request. There we go. We have, all right, so this was a success, and plus we have also grabbed the ID token and login email as well. Perfect. Now let's start off with the actions. I'm going to create a folder first. Okay, now, so we have the login, so we have the error banner that we need to address first. So let's head over to Webflow. Okay, I'm in the client portal. I need to head into the login. So we're calling this login error wrapper. Alrighty, so we are going to work on set visibility to login error wrapper. Put this in authentication. Login error wrapper. Set visibility. So what we're going to do, we need to produce a wrong email so we can produce the error data request. So let's try to run this. Okay, perfect. Now we want to make sure that the error banner only pops up when, yeah, this is active. This right here, error code, and that's it. We're just gonna leave it at that. And then we are gonna choose the text, login error text. Set login error text. So we want to make sure we let the user know what went wrong. Set text, plain text, and there we go, invalid message. All right, so let's refresh this. There we go, invalid password. Awesome. Now, another thing we want to do is tie in the sign in button. So let's do that. Sign in trigger. Login button, okay. Alrighty. Shoot, I just remembered I missed another thing as well. I forgot to set the redirection on the data out request for sign-in. Not to worry, we will handle that now. Okay, let's see if this was a success. All right, perfect. Our was success, but obviously we need to redirect the user to dashboard. So that's what we're going to do. Navigate to is conditional. Condition is okay. Oh, there we go. Request status code is 200. Also, I need to add this in to these two cookies as well. All right, there we go, and copy this URL here. So we have, wait, where is it? Oh, there we go, /client portal /dashboard. Okay, /client portal /dashboard. Just double check that real quick. It's not dashboard. Okay, perfect. Oh, wait, no. Alrighty. Okay, so let's refresh that again and check that out. Wized 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. It has redirected us into the dashboard. Awesome. Now, with that being done, let's head into request password reset and start baking out all the actions for these. All right. Okay, so first things first is we're going to tie in the request password reset trigger. Request pass button. There we go. All right, so on click, we want to perform request, and that would be request password reset email. All right, perfect. That's done. Let's move on to the next one, which is the success. Let's move on to Webflow and figure out what this is called. Request pass success. Okay. Set visibility to request pass success. Put you in authentication. Request pass success. Set visibility, and okay, so this is only going to be visible when this is 200 and yeah, has requested is true. And so has requested is true and status code is 200. Only then this would pop up. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is, yeah, actually that's that. All right, moving on to the error now. So error wrapper. Oh, okay. So it's called error wrapper. Okay. Set visibility to error wrapper. Authentication. Okay, so error code, perfect. Now what we want to do is we also want to set the error text as well. Set error wrapper text. Huh, that's weird. Request pass error text. Request pass error text. Error text. Set, what was it? Oh yeah, text. We want to set the text. And we're going to select the message. Let's refresh that. Missing email. Perfect. So let's also try this out. 2017 request password. Amazing. There we go. It's worked beautifully. Alrighty. So now the request pass is, now let's check our inbox as well. Perfect. We have received our latest email link as well. Okay, great. All right, so let's close this and move on to our reset password. And then once this is done, we are going to go through another test. So, okay, so we're going to tie the reset password. Let's find out reset password button. Okay. Trigger reset. Actually, we're just going to call it reset password. That's it. Reset password button. on click, perform request, reset password, done. Alrighty. Then we're going to create another one. Set visibility to reset password success. Has requested is true and status code is 200. So only then we will see the success banner. Perfect. Now we're going to set the error. So yeah, it's quite easy task, but very tedious at the same time. All right, so we have reset password failed. Set visibility to reset password failed. Don't know why I keep misspelling that. That's so weird. Reset password failed. Set visibility. So error code, so only then it's going to appear. Perfect. So we're going to copy that and set text. Reset password failed text. There we go. Invalid OOP code. And yeah, perfect. I believe that is it. Let me reload the page. All right, our authentication is done. So what we're going to do is go into login and preview this. Okay, so on design. Let me apply my password. Okay, let's sign in and see if we are okay. All right, perfect. So this is working. Our client, we're going into the client dashboard. So that's test number 1 done. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're also gonna click on forgot password and reset our password. Okay, so that's worked. Let's check our inbox. Okay, so we've received a new email. Okay, so now let's click on this. Perfect. So I'm gonna change this to Wized 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wized 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's reset password. Okay, your password has been reset, redirecting you now. Okay, so over here we have a custom code that's meant to execute as soon as you reset your password successfully. So, which is something I forgot to address. So if I take you to the reset password and take you here, there we go. I see the issue. Okay, so we have this script here. And this is basically interacting with Wized API. So what it does is on page load, wait for the reset password to be executed, and then wait for the status code for that request. And once it's successful, wait for 2 seconds, and then redirect that user to the client portal login page. So obviously I need to update the request name and the data name for it as well. So what we're going to do is head over here. Okay, so it is indeed called reset password. Reset password. Okay, but instead of 16, this is supposed to say 8, R8 $ status code. So let's see if that is what it is, R8 $ status code. Okay, so it should work now. And client portal, Wized Webflow auth login. So we have a delay of 2 seconds. Now, in case if you're wondering, why did I add this Wized request when we can just do this on Wized directly? The reason why I added, it's purely because of that 2-second delay. Wized doesn't allow you to apply delays, and it's not a great user experience to just immediately redirect the user to the login page once their request has been successful without showing them any form of success message. So again, keeping the user experience in mind, I wanted to create this delay with the help of Wized API. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to reset this. And okay, so this time it's not going to work because we don't have the OOB code. So we're going to have to redo this again from the top. So, all right, we're gonna hit preview, forgot password. Okay, so reset email, perfect. Let's click on that again, and let's reset our password. Okay. All right, perfect. So it has been reset and we have been logged in. Hopefully that wasn't too hard, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So now we're finally going to be moving into the dashboard, and I'm really, really excited about it. So yeah, I will catch you on the next tutorial, and if you have any questions, please leave it on the comment sections, and I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. Thank you.